Gino
Absolutely.
the legend.
He's my inspiration. Did you know that?
He's an animal.
He's an
Uh,
animal. He's a beast.
he's your inspiration?
He's my inspiration for life. Yeah.
Is that why you're so bad at this?
I. It could be. It might be that. I know a lot about having a microphone. It's right here, and I know a lot about sound speeds and saying those words. What are you up to?
What's up, buds, and
Oh, okay.
welcome to a new episode of the Earbuds Podcast, the podcast where two friends talk about one album for an extended amount of time. We are your two hosts, Lucas and Ash, and we're here today to talk to you about this album called Snowdonia by Surfer Blued.
I think
Surfer
I
Blued, right?
is Surfer Blued. I think is how it's pronounced.
Yeah.
I wrongly said this album was called Snowlandia probably 7 times over the course of like a week or so.
Snowdonia is a weird name. No information. I couldn't find any information why they even called it that. But Snowlandia sounds like a nice. It sounds nice.
Snowlandia sounds a little more inviting to me. Maybe we
Yeah,
should.
Snowdonia kind of.
It's
It almost
it's
sounds like a restaurant.
it's like they're trying to put you in a box. I don't like
Yeah,
that.
They're trying to done you in.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm not about that. I'm not trying to be in that shit.
Well, on that note, I don't think you can put this band in a box. Really?
Really?
Maybe you could. Maybe you could. But I brought this album to the pod. It's one that has been, dude, this is an OG. This has been on the list since day one.
Fuck, man.
Kind of crazy.
I mean, we were. I don't know if I'd. No, I would go as far to say that we were like different people when we first made this fucking podcast.
Absolutely.
You know?
Like, we both live in completely different places than we did when we first started. Like, we started this podcast during the pandemic, during lockdown, or right after. No, yeah, during.
Very much
Um,
during. Yeah.
yeah, very much during. And yeah, and we made a list of like I probably had like 50 albums on the original list of albums I wanted to talk about on here.
Yeah.
And it's crazy how many we haven't done yet.
I,
And so that's I've been dipping back into that like in this new season or whatever of our recordings. So this is one that was on the OG list, man, and every time I would see it and I wouldn't remember I would always think it's kind of random. I was like, oh, it's kind of weird that I've included a Surfer Blood album. I'm just like, I like Surfer Blood, but it's like, why would I want to like? It was just weird that it was one of the first ones I thought of. And then I re-listening to it, I forgot how much I loved it and how much I did listen to it like when it came out. So it makes sense that at that time it was just on rotation, and I haven't listened to it since really in the last like 3-4 years.
and it came out in 2017. So
2017. Yeah.
thank
Yeah. And
you.
I was into them by that point already.
I had never heard Surf Blood. I'd heard of them, but this is the first time I'd gotten.
Really?
I listened to an album. I listened to their music. And if
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be the person to put them in a box. But if I was that person, I would probably say something akin to, they're like a '60s roller rink band transported into the modern age. They're playing out your favorite soda pop
Yeah,
diner.
that's an awesome way to describe them. Yeah, that's an awesome way to like it's they have so much like 50s pop sensibility and like rock and roll sensibility in their stuff that it's just like it's so refreshing to listen to, and it's like that album is weirdly kind of sweet. It's like sweet music.
Yeah, I'd say so. It definitely, uh, it has fucking waves of different vibes going about it the whole time, but most of the time it does sound pretty like flirty with life, I'd say.
Yeah, hey, that's nice. I like it. I like the way you put it. I feel like this is great. The way I was thinking about it, I'm like, this is really great music to listen to, like with your partner, with someone you love, because it's like sweet, softer indie rock music, but it has a lot of like talent in there. There's a lot of musicianship. There's great songwriting. There's really catchy melodies, good production,
I
and go ahead, go ahead.
Well, that's what I thought too, and then I showed my partner track 7, Taking Care of Eddie, and just totally took it the wrong way. I wasn't trying to say anything.
Wait,
Uh,
what?
No, just thought just because the whole song's about like taking care of some fucking has been or whatever,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
I was talking
Did
about
they get
them, but I
offended?
wasn't.
Wait, did they? Is that true?
That's how I interpreted the song.
No, but I mean, is that true that
Oh
your
no, that
partner
didn't
got
actually happen.
offended? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm just
I was like,
fucking
oh
with you.
shit.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, come on, man. I'm too high to. You can't be lying to me.
Oh dude, fucking got my first little disposable here.
Oh, hello.
I'm fucking sponsored. If you like that.
Excuse me.
That's some fat panda right there, baby.
Is that the strain name?
I don't remember what the strain's called, but the company's Fat Panda, and I've been using this, and I found out I don't like flavored fucking pens because it's kind of,
No.
I don't know, it's kind of fucking weird. It gives you a weird feeling.
Yeah, I think the stuff that they add to it to give it flavors is like not good. It's like chemicals shit. You don't want that.
Yeah, yeah. I've been like, you take a hit of it, and you're like, I could definitely kind of like feel the chemicals setting in.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yeah, man, you pick up on that too. I definitely pick up on that.
so I'll
Um,
probably the last of these I'll get for a little bit, but
yeah,
I'm
if
making
you're what sucks
progress.
is that I'm so proud of you. Smoke more weed in any way you can.
I'm trying.
The you're probably not gonna buy another pen in the near future, and also like the ones that are the best quality are also the most expensive. So, but if you do feel like buying a new cart at some point, get solventless. Just ask them which ones are solventless, and those are the ones that don't use chemicals.
My partner uses Falcana.
Okay,
I don't know if you are into them,
no,
but
they're not
apparently
down here.
it's all flavorless stuff, all solventless, I guess.
Well, yeah, that's the way to do it, man. Because solventless usually means it's just like hash rosin. So they take like the actual like all the trichomes off the weed, make it into hash, and then squeeze the hash and extract all the juice out of it, all the goodness. So there's literally no chemicals used. It's like water and heat,
Oh shit.
and it's fucking. It tastes like the weed. It tastes like the strain. Like it's the cleanest high that you can get from like a concentrate. So, but it's expensive as shit. Like a 1 gram cart of solventless down here is $70.
Oh shit.
Yeah, and I
Well,
think they go even higher. Like I think like even better brands of hash rosin will go for like 80, $90 for like a half gram
fuck.
cart. Yeah, yeah. So you're paying a lot for so much like labor intensive and not, cutting corners with using chemicals and stuff. But anyway, going back to Surfer Blood. What I was saying was that like this is like very I feel like this album is very sweet and and uh and I think it's really really good. So I'm curious how it landed on you.
Um, I think it took a little bit for it to grab a hold on me. There was a little while when I was kind of asking myself, why did Lucas bring this to the podcast? Uh,
Were you surprised that I even like this album?
I am. I was wondering if this was one of the albums you brought on because you'd heard about it and you were like, yeah, let's check it out on the podcast
Oh,
together.
okay. No,
Um,
no, I love this band a lot.
I Yeah, I don't know. I think it's all right. I think uh it's well and good, but
Uh-huh.
um I have a couple quarrels, I guess I'd say.
Okay, well, what do you want to get to first? What you like about it or what you don't like about it?
Um we'll save the good stuff for later. So go ahead and let's talk about what we liked about it.
Oh, okay. You know, this is starting to feel a little retaliatory, or however you say it. We just recorded another episode before this where I did not like the album that Ash brought, and now I feel like
No, no, I wouldn't do. No,
this
we can
feels
talk
a
about the
little
bad stuff
petty.
first if you want to wash it
Being Tom
away.
Petty? No, I mean, let's talk about honestly, yeah, let's talk about the bad stuff first.
Okay. I think the
Yeah,
first probably lowest hanging fruit is kind of the monotoneness of the singer, which
sure.
I it's not my biggest gripe or anything. But I think it is there. And it's almost it's weird cuz it's not like he is only hitting one note the whole time. But it's like he's only
True.
hitting one tone the whole time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it reminds me for sure. It reminds me of bands like Parquet Courts and that type of vocal delivery where they're just like, or like Bodega. I don't know if you know them either. Just very like middle of the road. Um, they're nothing they're gonna do is gonna be like challenging on their voice.
Yeah.
They
Right.
can sing really. They sing kind of softly and yeah, kind of monotone, like talky singing. And I can see people not liking that for sure. Like I don't mind it at all. Because I think he makes up for it in really catchy melodies. But I could see why his voice could get like kind of boring.
I think it might be especially uh more so than usually like kind of not great on this record just because to me at least a lot of the music also kind of seemed very straightforward and very kind of like
Yes.
staying in its own lane. And didn't I don't know, it was hard for me to really grab onto something if throughout this album. And during moments like Six Flags and Effigy,
Hmm.
where he's kind of doing this interesting vocal melody and there's this like odd guitar rhythm happening. Those were the moments
Yeah.
that yeah,
Like it.
yeah. And they have this
Yeah.
like he just like at one point bangs all the strings muted and you could just hear the and like
Yeah.
that's
I
a
do
fucking
love the
Lucas
melody.
move right there.
Oh, for sure. And I do love the melody in that song. So we're like, la, 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 la,
Na, na,
la,
na,
la, la.
na. Yeah, like
Yeah,
moments like that are the things that kept me going through this album. Uh,
yeah,
but moments like that were kind of few and far between,
for
especially in these
sure.
songs that are. I mean, there's an 8 minute long song here. There's five and a half, six. Uh,
Yeah, I'm surprised. I didn't remember so many of those songs going for so long. But then you kind of see it's like a 45-minute album and there's only like 9 songs or something.
yeah,
You're like, oh
and
shit.
there are uh, there are a couple songs that like switch up. You know,
Yeah,
like
like Six Flags and Effigy. I think they change it up a lot. Like it goes from that kind of spaghetti western mixed with surf rock thing to like a standard Surfer Blood indie rock song,
and
you know?
it seems
And
to
back and forth.
yeah, yeah, it seems like they almost like had these two songs and they're like, yeah, it's
Yes.
fine, but like I don't know where to put it and they just kind of mashed them together. And same for Snowdonia, uh
Yes,
where
for
they kind of
sure.
switch it up halfway through and you hardly even notice.
I feel like Snowdonia, that song is really weird because I feel like it doesn't have a structure. I don't think there's a chorus or a verse in Snowdonia. I think it's all verses.
It's very kind of like let's just glide with it.
Yeah, it kind of just seems like that's the longest song on the record. It's like 7.5 minutes long, right?
Yeah, it's nearly 8.
Nearly 8 minutes. And then it goes through like movements is what it feels like. It doesn't have a standard song structure. It's really fucking interesting and weird. But then it gets into this like really catchy, I'm trying to remember the horses on the carousel line where he's talking about like being at a carnival,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and it's just super catchy, super pretty melody, and then it ends up in this like the song ends, it sounds like the Beach Boys for the last like minute and a half. of the song. It's just like y'all just did a medley of like 50s rock music or 50, you know?
Yeah, yeah, like 60s.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. I think it borders the line between 50s and 60s, like late 50s, early 60s.
Yeah, it has
Um,
the kind of doo-woppy pop 50s vibe
yeah,
plus like the 60s surf rock vibe.
yeah, yeah. The
And a little bit of like a little bit of stuff like the Doors or something. You could hear some of that maybe in there. But then they also have a lot of like 80s influence also. Like they have like, you know, the going back to the 60s like the sitar type stuff like on
um, taking care of
Taking Care
Eddie,
of Eddie.
the band.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that was a cool riff.
Like so cool. And then even in the song before that, Instant Doppelgangers, the way that they mixed and like kind of affected the guitars. There was like two guitars at the same time playing like really jangly stuff in the background of Instant Doppelgangers that it sounded like a sitar. And I was kind of like, "Oh, that's really cool that they made it sound like that." And then the very next song they actually have one. I'm like, "Oh, they're just full on going for the 60s shit in there." But then they have like Dino J, which I feel like is more of like an American rock kind of Tom Petty song with a little bit of like The Cure mixed in or Television or something like a post punk.
Yeah, it's got like the kind of steadiness of a Cure song.
Yeah.
It did kind of remind me of a lot of stuff that's coming out today, like the Beths and um, I guess I don't know what you call that, just like modern rock indie pop or something like that. I feel
Yeah, I think
like
it's just indie. I think it's just indie. Like cuz the two that the two bands that came to mind for me were The Babies and Arcade Fire. I was like, those two bands, I'm like, oh, I hear both of those a lot in this. And it's really interesting. So like, um, I've been listening to Surfer Blood probably for like I think the album that came out before this one, Thousand Palms. I think that's the first one I listened to by them. And then I started kind of that I went back and Pythons was like a big one for them that came out before that. And they were always like really catchy, really they were a little bit more like not rockin', but you know, like as rockin' as they can get. You know what I
just
mean?
kind of
Like,
like rockin', but they're still on like Ket or something.
yeah, but they still sound super nice. Like, they sound like the nicest people in the world or something, you know?
Sure.
Um, but it was really crazy because when this album came out, I was, you know, psyched. I knew about it. I was like getting ready for it, but I didn't really know much about the band. I was just like, I had just discovered them and, you know, whatever. So this album comes out. I love it. And then, cause they've been around since like 2009. They've been doing it for a while, but it's like when this album came out, uh, I found out after the fact that the guitarist had left the band. The original guitarist left the band in 2015, so 2 years before this album came out, or 2014, um, because he got cancer,
Oh shit.
and then he passed away. And
Oh
they were like
fuck.
childhood friends. Like they like all went to the same high school together. Like the singer and the other guitarist were like they were the two guys that made the band, basically. So they kept going, and this is the album that they released after he passed away.
Fuck.
And I had no idea because the guitar work on this record is so similar and like so on point. Like they didn't change their sound really at all. So this new guy that they got to start, Tyler Schwartz, to start playing guitar, is just like he completely stepped in and just like filled in that slot like perfectly to where it's like I had no idea that this album had a new guitarist. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And I was like,
and
wow.
I I think you'd only assume some of those feelings would make it onto the record, but like you would never know that a core member fucking died before it was released.
Like died of like cancer that had spread all over, and
Yeah,
he
yeah.
left the band after them being together for like 5 years or 6 years or something. It's like it's crazy to think that like this album is so sweet and happy sounding and like kind of just like head bobbing, you know, like
Yeah, yeah.
happy white people music. But like yeah, so they had a like a horrible tragedy. happened like right before they started recording it or something. It was kind of crazy. So it's like adding that layer on top of this record. You're just kind of like, how did these guys push through to write such a feel good record?
Yeah,
You know,
right.
and with the new guitarist and without skipping a beat on like what they used to do. Like I said, they were a little louder before. Like they could get a little louder before, but really not much. So it's like this is just kind of like a sweeter album by them, you know? And you would never think that it's like a whole I think it's like a new bassist and a new guitarist on this record.
So
You
it's
know,
a whole
holy
new
shit.
lineup except for the one guy, or and the drummer, I
I
guess.
think I think yeah, the singer and the drummer.
Damn.
So those are the two. Yeah, I think the bassist left for like completely different reasons. I think he even like quit music. I'm not totally sure
Oh shit.
why he left. Like he did something. Yeah, he left to like go to school or something. I'm not 100% sure. Um, but yeah, man. So okay, so one of your complaints is the monotone, same
But
delivery on the vocals.
yeah, and just like there's some interesting guitar parts happening throughout this thing, but I don't think it's enough to override the kind of, I don't know. There's like a milk toastness of it to me that I just can't get over. And maybe it's
I
because,
really,
huh?
I was gonna say I really like the guitar riffs and the licks and like the overall tone of the guitar on this record. Like I sing along to some of the guitar parts. It's surprising that it didn't really stick with you.
I mean,
None of it.
they were the most. Yeah, I do believe the guitar is the most interesting thing on this record. Um, but it's
Were you able to pick up
also,
on the bass? The bassist is really nice on this album too.
man, I I guess I
You're
fucking
missing
didn't.
out on you're
Dude,
missing
I don't
out
know
on the
what to do.
bass.
I don't know what to do. Like I don't have any fucking like headphones or anything, you know?
Fuck. Turn up the bass on whatever app that you're using.
I guess so.
Yeah, you got to mess with the EQ then, because the
Uh
bassist is nice on this record. She like doesn't just follow along with the guitar. You know, she adds a lot to it.
but in yeah, I don't know. It's just in the same way that I guess hyperpop is not your kind of music. Um this just isn't my kind of music. It's just there's just
Yeah.
nothing there for me. I know that these artists put a lot of work into it and they put a lot of heart in it, but I don't get any of that. I don't hear like it seems like it's another day on the job for them, honestly.
Right.
But I know
Right.
that's not how it is. But
I totally fucking hear you, and that brings me back to like one of the first things I said when we started the episode. That okay, so let me just bring it back up. This is great music to listen to with your partner. I feel like because it's very sweet, soft music, just pleasant to listen to. But it also has a lot of talent behind it. And I do you agree that there's at least good musicianship here? Everyone's good at what they're doing, right?
um yeah, I mean everyone's good at what they're doing. It's like you go into any place and anyone can play any of these. I don't. Sorry, I my fucking thought stopped mid sentence there. What I'm saying is, you get any musician that's played for like 4 or 5 years, and they'll be able to play this music.
You're
Um,
probably right,
and I
but
don't
I don't
think
think they can
it's
write these songs.
again. I didn't hear the bass,
Right.
but I don't think I don't think any part of this music is so unique that it's much of a defining feature.
Okay. Well, in my opinion, they have great songwriting and good musicianship, and I think it is really catchy. I think a lot of the melodies are super catchy. I think the production's great. And in my opinion, there's really no filler on this album. I think the album as a whole is great, but you could completely tune this out and not really hear any of that I just said because it's so like inoffensive and unobtrusive. You know, not to
Which
say that
is
that's a
that's
bad
not a
thing
bad
at
thing at
all.
all.
That's not a bad thing at all, but
Like
I'm just saying that there's a lot to get out of this album if you're really listening to it. But you could also have this on in the background and completely forget that it's on.
sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's a lot to take away, but if you're not paying attention, it can be completely forgettable. And it's a weird dichotomy that this album has. And I take a lot out of this record, especially in the vocals and the guitar. So it's just like I have those two things that I like a lot of how they do it. So I'm like, all right, so I really enjoy it. But you could easily listen to this and go, yeah, it's nice, it's just kind of boring, like whatever. And I'd be like, yes, also that, so
But yeah, I don't know. I think it would be an interesting vibe live. I think like it's a show where everyone's like kind of sitting down and
yeah, I think everyone's like kind of swaying
like even the band
really
members are
soft.
kind of just like chilling out, but it's just all like a collective good vibe.
Yeah, I think it kind of would make me think of like Guster would have the same type of crowd. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Just a bunch of happy people, just,
Just hanging,
just everyone's
just chilling.
everyone's very chill. Yeah, everyone's very chill and calm. Um so all right, man. Well, what would your rating be for this?
I'm going to rate this a 5.5. Which is, I don't know, might be disappointing, but that's how I feel about it. I was going to give it a 5, but there is there is consistently very good guitar work in here. And uh
There is.
there could be very catchy moments for sure.
I mean, frozen in the armory, frozen in the armory.
D-
It's like, so catchy.
I think it taking care of Eddie, taking
Yeah.
care of Eddie. It's like it's almost to a point where it's kind of annoying how catchy it is.
Yeah, I know.
Uh, but it didn't that didn't affect me too much. Uh,
5.5. I'm okay with it. I'm fine with that. Um,
but I'm
yeah, man, it'd been
excited.
so.
Oh,
What?
I I
You just
said I
gonna
was
step on my rating now?
fuck, man.
Jesus Christ.
Well, I just want to talk more about myself. Can we just do that for once? For once? And
Clearly.
what did you give this album? Because I was very interested to see what you saw in this album that I did not see.
Well, I think I've pleaded my case,
Yes.
counselor. Yeah, no, I hadn't heard this in a few years, and I did forget how much I really love this record. There are songs from this album that I've put on like playlists that I've made for Christina. Like I've listened to stuff that they've put out after this and really really enjoyed it too. So it was cool like seeing it on the list of albums that I wanted to review and going like, huh, that seems kind of random, and then listening to it again and be like, oh yeah, I fucking love this. Um, so I just think it's really pleasant to listen to. I think the production is really nice that it's like nothing is ever gonna like again, like nothing stands out, but in a good way because it all just like works really well together. I love the guitar tone and the guitar work on this record. I love the vocalist, which I could totally understand why someone wouldn't. But I just think his vocals are really pleasant to listen to, and I think his melodies are really nice. And it's just one of those things. It's like it's this could be so cheesy. Like this whole album could be so cheesy and lame. I mean, they literally describe themselves as the cleanest, nicest band ever on their Spotify. Like that's in their bio. We are the cleanest, nicest band. And you just look at him and you're like, oh my god, it's like Vampire Weekend levels of just like he just looks so lame. But then but it's just like the music just there's something about it that just connects with me. Like this album could also feel very castrated, I feel like, to a lot of people, and I don't feel that way about it either. Like I don't feel like it's like lame music or anything like that. Like I think like they write about really good stuff. They have really nice love songs, and then it's just like if you don't dig the vibe, then fucking jog on. So I'm giving it a solid 7.8.
7.8. Damn. Okay. Very
Yeah,
cool.
and it's so I like that. I also like that I like the album. Like I like that I like this band.
I also like that you like the album.
Right? I
I'm
like that I
into
like
that.
it because, yeah, because I put off a vibe that wouldn't make you think that I love music like this, or like this is part of the mix or whatever for me, but it's like it absolutely is. And I yeah, that makes me like it even more because I'm just like I think it would surprise some people that I like it.
It surprised me, and I would say I'm probably like the second most knowledged person on your music taste, aside from maybe Christina or
Me
the fucking boys you're hanging out with in high school.
or me.
Or you, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, no.
Sometimes you don't know what you want, and I have to give it to you. You know?
It's true. I mean, you tried doing it. It was really funny listening to Who Killed XIX. Like listening to this album after that, like Snowdonia sounds like a fucking children's album
It is
compared to Who Killed XIX.
absolutely different,
It
completely
couldn't be more.
horridly different vibes.
Yeah, like Snowdonia sounds like fucking Veggie Tales compared to Who Killed XIX.
It like you give people Snowdonia after they've had XIX, like, all right, let's calm down. Let's give you a little palate
Right.
cleanser. Let's get you onto some other music.
That does sound like two drugs that would have to follow each other. Like, all right, you took a dose of XIX, like you're kind of freaking out. I know you're a little hyped
I,
right now, but here, take a Snowdonia. Let's bring you back down.
let's just kind of let's hang out here. Let's get some fucking
Yeah,
soda pop at the roller rink.
there you go. Snowdonia is the CBD of rock music. So what are your do you have any honorable mentions?
I do have some honorable mentions. Thank you for asking.
Oh, you're welcome.
I think Matter of Time is a great way to kick off the album.
It's a matter of, it's a matter of,
It's a
it's a
matter
matter
of
of
time.
time.
And then I
So
think
catchy.
Dino J was also a nice, as you described it earlier, like The Cure, um,
Tom
fuck,
Petty esque,
Tom
like
Petty.
early Tom Petty. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. I like those were both of my honorable mentions as well.
But my first nug is gonna be the one right after Dino J, which is Six Flags in F or G.
Six Flags and FOG.
And I
La
think
la 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 la.
I think it's the fuck the first song to kind of give you a little bit of a curveball. Starts off with this
Such a weird riff.
very very cowboy echo reverbed guitar, um a very like 1-2 beat, uh
Yeah,
but that along with the part that proceeds immediately after it, it's like, what the fuck just happened? Like, what are we
yeah, yeah.
doing
It
here?
just it switches. I love it for its weirdness.
And
That song is great for weirdness.
it doesn't switch for like 2.5 minutes or something,
It's
and
like
then
halfway through the song.
just like that, no like transition. It's just
Yeah.
like, and now we're walking over Asia. It's like, oh, okay. I guess we're doing this
Did
now
that
for the rest
first
of the song.
Yeah, did that first half of the song remind you of Morphine at all?
A little bit. Now that you bring it up,
Right?
yeah,
Right?
it was just like very low note, very um
Surf rock, spaghetti western
yeah, yeah,
thing
yeah.
going on. The only thing it was missing was a saxophone. And then it would have gone full Morphine.
I'm What band isn't missing a saxophone? You know what I'm saying?
100% agree with you.
I if
Every band can use a saxophone.
if I have one regret from Mortales, it's never finishing Monstros Famosas. But if I have a second regret,
Yeah.
it's not getting a fucking sax player in the band.
Dude, a baritone saxophone was something I talked about for years. Let's not get into this. We would have been
We're
the only
getting
fucking metal
sad.
band with a baritone saxophone in Austin. Okay. Yes, I love Six Flags and Effigy. Uh, Great song. My first choice nug was Frozen.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the catchiest chorus on the record, but also I realized that Frozen, the chorus of Frozen and Taking Care of Eddie is like the same melody. Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's they're just a little too close, but I Frozen and I love the 50s kind of pop esque melodies that they have in there, and then they pushed even further for the 50s with the 50s thing by putting those like dreamy backup vocals in the background that kind of sound like, the 50s like dreaming music.
Yeah, I
Um
I was wondering I was wondering where that woman's voice came from, and I now know it's the bassist. So there you go.
yep, she's the bassist. Yes. So yeah, Frozen, I love that song. It was almost Matter of Time. But yeah, Frozen, something about that. I think it's just like how much they pushed it into the 50s realm that really love it a lot.
Even that guitar solo is very much like,
Yeah.
I don't know, something about it. It's very old school.
It's like it's simple.
That
That's
that
probably
that
why.
might be it.
But Snowdonia is one of my honorable mentions. I have to definitely call that out.
Sure.
Uh I love how much it changes up. I love that it's a 7-minute song and it somehow like works for 7 minutes. Um and my other honorable mention is Instant Doppelgangers. I really like that song, and I really like the harmonized vocals. Really weird harmonizing that they're doing. Like it sounds like a diminished or like a I don't even know, like a half step up or something. It's really strange,
It is some like that's some Beatles shit right there. Is that kind of
right?
harmony. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like what even is this? And they did it in a really really good way. I don't know if it's like a pedal that he's using because it's so perfect. But anyway, that's a really cool one. But what's your second choice nug Taking Care of Eddie?
It's taking care of Eddie. Yeah.
Yeah,
Again, I
me
think
too.
my favorite part of the album is the guitar and the vocals on that verse. Probably. I'm a sucker
Yeah,
for that fucking. It's almost King Gizzard esque, you know?
yeah, it's like dissonant guitar notes. Like they're playing a really weird. It's almost punk rockish in the
Almost.
in the verses, almost. And then they have that sitar kind of like third guitar thing going on in the background. It's like yeah, like I definitely felt King Gizzard, and I think Taking Care of Eddie, you could safely say is like their most rockin' song on the record.
Certainly. Yeah.
Yeah,
To even the wailing guitars on the chorus. And it's like, God, man,
yeah,
that's
dude.
this is almost a stereotype at this point.
Yeah, it almost sounded like a cheesy 80s metal song at times, like with some of the like guitar licks that they were playing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love the sort of like 50s like sock hop love song that it becomes also at some point with the oohs and ahs and the tambourine and that jangly guitar
Yeah,
during
yeah.
that bridge, and they're doing that like ping pong reverb on the guitar. Really fun. And I couldn't figure out what the lyrics were about, but you were saying it's like a friend that's just a fucking mess and you're having to take care of them.
Yeah, I assumed it was just some like fucking slob that you hang out with and you gotta like fucking clean his house so you can get through the door or something like that.
Yeah, but he's saying like taking care of Eddie, it's like it's a hassle, but it's also like but it's fun. Like even then they're still kind of positive.
Yeah. Yeah, sure.
I think it just makes for a really like interesting and fun song. Like everything that they did on that track. And it
And then
and next to Snowdonia and like Six Flags and Effigy, it's like that's the Taking Care of Eddie's the other one that you're like, oh, kind of catches you off guard a little bit.
of course they do the halfway through the song different vibe completely. The
Yeah.
like the doom ka ka doom ka kind of thing.
I love it. I love it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, shit, man.
you know.
5.5, 7.8. You know, at least we were closer than our last episode in our ratings and in our opinions.
Well, that's how it goes sometimes, you know?
What are you gonna do?
That's how it goes.
Yeah. Hey, well, thanks everyone for listening. Give us a rating and a review wherever you're listening to us, or a thumbs up, or a like, or a heart, or whatever. Tell your friends about us. We are everywhere you can find podcasts. We're on YouTube if you want to watch the video version of this. See me in my creep sweatshirt.
See my Dobre fucking shirt? Look at that
Oh
shit.
my god.
It's the Dober brothers and they do backflips. Let's go.
Are those the guys that did that Talk to Me movie?
I no. Um
Oh, okay, you would have heard about the horror movie that they directed if that was them,
I
right?
probably would have heard about it, but
Okay,
I
never
don't
mind.
know. I don't know what they're doing on this side.
Well, all power to them. Guys, thanks for listening. Next episode, Ash, it's actually your choice.
That's right.
So do you have a selection?
I will. I do have a selection.
Eventually.
But it's a secret until next episode.
All right.
So just
cliffhanger, guys. You gotta watch the episode now.
to you as well. So just listen to a bunch of
Oh, God.
albums. Really
I hope
pay
I land on it.
attention. Yeah, we'll see if we match
Okay.
up.
Okay. God, I just realized my video feed looks super green. Like I look like I'm in a David Fincher film. Good Lord.
Doesn't look like that from where I'm sitting, but
It's weird, the lighting here. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Tell everyone and watch and listen to us. Oh, and do the thing that we thought of last time. Go to YouTube and mute it and then listen to our audio on Spotify and sync up the two things so we can get double the plays.
and then just go ahead and mute the Apple Podcast one, but play that at the same time too. If we could get you
Yes.
streaming from like 5 places at once, that would be ideal. But we'll take
Or
2
just
or
put it
3.
on repeat. Yeah, just put it on repeat and fly through our shit so we can get some ad revenue.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. Ash, this was good.
Lucas, this was good.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, buddy.
Bye.